All right, gang, welcome back. This is Will with the Get Fit podcast. I'm here with my good friend Sierra. We're sitting down here at Organic Remedies. We are the cannabis dispensary right next to Buffalo Wild Wings and right in front of Menards there. New industry in town. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions about this sector and this industry. So I want to take a little bit of time here and talk with Sierra, learn a little bit about cannabis and what options are available to the public. And give you guys some information. And if you have any questions, guys, reach out to Sierra. She'd be happy to help you guys out with any question that you may have. But Sierra, good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you. How are you doing?
Doing good. Backstory with Sierra. I've known Sierra for a little over a year now. Her and I worked together at the Sedalia Democrat for about 6 months to a year. Fantastic employee. Had an opportunity when Organic Remedies came to town here to be the manager here at this great location.
Absolutely.
So, Sierra, tell me a little bit about yourself. I already know, but I don't think our viewers know about you.
No, absolutely. So, actually, I moved here last year from Texas. I went to school at Texas A&M for marine biology, of all things. And during the pandemic, my parents live in Sedalia, and I wanted to spend more time with them. So we moved up here, and I met Will, and I got this great job at the Democrat. And he's right, because of that wonderful location, that wonderful position, I got this job at this wonderful location here. And being the manager at such a wonderful company that really cares about its patients and provides that quality one-to-one every day is really what I think is so motivating about this position.
And Organic Remedies, straight up business, guys. Chamber members, we had a ribbon cutting here about 3 months ago. Fantastic location, everything's brand new, everything's nice, pretty, educational staff. So, don't think of this as, as this is to be scared of. It's a very welcoming place with a lot of knowledgeable people. So I want to get that out there right now.
We screw in all the light bulbs, so it's very bright.
It is very bright here, absolutely. Okay, well, let's get down to the brass tacks here. Tell me why you were so passionate about cannabis, and what has it done for you?
So, really, what's so amazing about cannabis is it provides an opportunity to people to take their medicine into their own hands. And I think that's also one of the scary things about it.
Yeah.
It is a product where there is not a hard and fast rule set for how to use this product or how often to use this product. So patients do have an individual level of care. It's very specialized. They have a lot of control over it. But at the same time, it can be a little scary. And I love being able to be kind of a guide for all of these people to provide a unique experience for every patient, because some person's PTSD medication is definitely not the same as somebody else's pain relief medication, or maybe they are the same. It really just depends.
Very good. So. Absolutely. So you're talking about having the customer have their take it into their own hands. This is now an option. It did pass 2 years ago on our state legislature. The medical marijuana. We're not the only state to do it. I think we're always about right in the middle. As soon as we start doing it Missouri-wise, then everybody else kind of starts coming along and doing it. So that was a great initiative, a great tax base for our community. So cannabis itself, tell me about what that is.
So cannabis itself is just a plant, just like any other plant that grows anywhere else in the world. It's just that this plant has some properties that make us feel differently than we would on a normal basis. It's actually in the same family as hops, which is what we make beer out of.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, they're brothers. They're cousins.
they're close cousins, absolutely.
They are. So it's kind of interesting that people have such a strong reaction towards cannabis when it is just a plant, and really it's just a plant that makes us feel differently.
Absolutely.
And really what's going on there is it's got two different main properties. There's over 60 cannabinoids in cannabis. And those are really what's interacting with your body to make you feel different ways. Cannabis, its two main properties are THC and CBD.
THC and CBD. Okay, I've heard those terms quite a bit.
Yes, and those are pretty common at this point, because we have had different states talk about it so openly now. But the big thing with your plant is just determining how much of those different components are in it, and that really determines what it can do for you.
Okay.
So I think some people have probably seen that cannabis can be turned into other items as well. So there's edibles. People are familiar with the brownie story.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah.
everyone's always had too much the first time.
Yep.
So we always tell people, go low, start slow, go low.
And take your time, and because with the edible side, it takes a little bit longer to kick in.
Right.
Because it does go through your digestive system.
Right.
So if you don't feel, you eat something, you feel like, oh, this isn't working, and you have more, and then not realize that, your body hasn't really metabolized it yet, and then okay, now slow down.
Exactly. And everyone's different, too.
Yeah.
So some people it's 30 minutes, some people it's 4 hours. It's just completely individual. But you could see edible products. There's also a vaporizing form of it. So there's concentrates, which is basically just taking all the THC, usually straight out of the plant. Sometimes they still have terpenes in there, which are other parts. But it's a little bit more intense of an experience. So patients who are a little bit more experienced or seasoned might want to use that product. And then we even have like sodas that you can drink. We have tinctures that go under your tongue. So there's so many different ways to use it. When people think about cannabis and medical marijuana, they typically think about the flower.
Sure,
and that's perfect.
Yeah.
But there are so many other ways if you're not a fan of smoking or if you're an asthmatic or whatever it is, there are other ways to consume it.
Sure, absolutely. So you said two things. You said CBD, THC, and terpenes. Can we explain a little bit what the difference of those three things are?
Absolutely. So CBD is pretty common, and I think everyone has seen it probably in a gas station or a pharmacy somewhere. And it actually works with, there's two different types of receptors in your body. There's CB1 and CB2.
Okay.
So it works with your CB2 receptors. And when you get hurt, or let's say I punched you in the arm and it gets all swollen,
okay.
Your body releases those receptors to that area. So CBD interacts with those to reduce that inflammation or reduce that pain. That's why it's so good for people who have arthritis or something like that, because it can help physically reduce the amount of inflammation you have. THC actually works with the other one, CB1. That one is pretty much in your nervous system. It's in your brain. And how it works is it kind of blocks the pain there. So I like to think of it almost as a valve switch, and it'll either fill it up or block it so that you can't feel all that pain. That's the two main components there. And then the other part of it is terpenes. So when you hear a strain, you think, oh, that one puts me to sleep. Oh, well, that one wakes me up.
Sure, yeah.
That's all terpenes.
So that's the terpene, like, so it's like indica is that a terpene, or is that like a? So
it's actually a common misconception. It's a growing stage. Well, not necessarily a growing stage. I shouldn't say that, but it's it has to do with the growing process.
Okay.
Terpenes are actually found in all different plants. So they're found in lemons, and they're found in pine trees, and they're found in lavender. But they got funny names. They're all chemical, but it's like linalool or pinene or something like that, or limonene. Those are all terpenes that are in cannabis, and that's what gives you the effects that you experience.
The different effect is, some of them will essentially make you tired. If you're going to utilize it for sleep, sleep or anxiety, there's going to be one strain, I guess is what you guys call it. And then if, one is more of the pick-me-up and, get going, that's a whole different strand.
Right. And it has to do with these. So actually we have little terpene cards that kind of explain all the different parts about the terpenes. But, for example, limonene, which is in here, I promise. Limonene and linalool can both help with PTSD. They can both be helpful for your mood and enhancing that mood. But linalool will make you a little bit more tired, and limonene tends to make you a little bit more awake.
Okay.
So if you have that medical condition, you might look for one product in the morning and one product at night that have those two different terpenes, but that's really what you're looking for.
Okay.
So, and you'll find them in different things. Like linalool is really easy to remember because it's in lavender.
Okay.
So
there's different strands essentially for what your ailment is. So what? Let's say I come in and I have arthritis real bad. What sort of terpene or what sort of strand would you suggest would be the best for, let's say, arthritis?
Right. So actually, we do have a lot of different strains that would be helpful for it, but because there's several different ones, I'd start asking you other questions. When are you going to use this? Morning time, nighttime? And then as far as a arthritis medication, you're going to look for something that does have CBD in it.
Okay.
Not every patient will, and I'm not a medical professional, but I tend to think more towards CBD because you will get both receptors that are being blocked or helped. And you're also going to look for something that's got like maybe a high pinene or an oxamine.
Okay.
Oxamine, I'm trying to say that right. But both of those are anti-inflammatory. So they'll also be able to help you reduce that pain and that inflammation. So you'll kind of want to look for those terpenes and then also combine some CBD in there to help out.
And you have a staff here that will help out with those scenarios.
So they'll guide you for sure. And then if you have any specific medical questions, we actually have a pharmacist that's available on call, so we can schedule an appointment with them. And you can have a call with our pharmacist, and they'll be able to answer very specific medical questions, pretty much almost anything.
Absolutely. All right, Sarah, we were talking about some of the different strands and some of the effects, because each strand has different effects. You know, if you're looking for a mellowness or you're looking for something to pick you up. But one of the things that people get when they try cannabis is that they get, I guess, quote unquote, the munchies. Now, how do we combat that, or is there a strand out there that doesn't do that to a person?
Right, so that is something that I hear a lot from patients. THCV is one of those cannabinoids I was talking about earlier. You can take that and it will help suppress your appetite. You can also try a strain that's high in humulene. It'll actually help suppress your appetite as well. Everybody always thinks that when you try cannabis, you're going to get the munchies, or you're going to have to eat a bunch. But there are options that will help prevent that.
So it's THCV, is what you're saying? Okay.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, and there's been times too, and everybody's going to come to this. You know, you get home, you want to relax. You don't have anything on your agenda. Then you take your medicine, and then something comes up, or you had too much. What does somebody do if that happens?
Yeah, so we hear that a lot as well. If a patient does have an experience where they're starting to feel too high and they're uncomfortable, or they need to go do something, you can actually take either a high dose of CBD. CBD is actually a little bit more effective than THC with your receptors. It'll help take the THC off. You can also take something, I told you they're in different plants, the terpenes. So you can take a terpene like limonene off of an orange peel, and you'll put the orange peel in water and drink it, and that'll also help calm you back down.
Oh, that's pretty simple.
Yeah, and a lot of people normally have some sort of citrus at home or some sort of plant that they can steep for a second.
Steep, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and again, we were also talking about, there's you don't have to essentially smoke anymore. That if you like to do that, then great. But I personally don't like the smell.
Right.
I don't want that smell on me. I don't want people to smell it on me. So there's other forms. So you talked about there's gummies, there's cookies. What other kind of things are there?
Right. So there are tinctures, there are vapes, there are concentrates, there are topicals that we can put on. We don't have them yet, but there will be suppositories, and there are capsules as well. I think that pretty well covers it because edibles covers a whole broad category. But yeah, there are a lot of options.
Very good. So what is your clientele? What is the most common clientele that you're seeing?
So actually, our older demographic is really who we're seeing the most. We see all patients of all ages, to be honest with you. But our primary demographic actually tends to be the older than, let's say, even 50 range. So mostly it's the older patients who have this pain and they're looking for a quality of life adjustment. So they might already be on medication and we never tell anyone to stop their medication or anything like that. But what we can do is we can sometimes supplement or provide an additional way to manage pain or to manage your symptoms, whether it doesn't have to be pain. But that's, I think, what we're seeing the most.
Right.
We get a lot of people in here with wheelchairs, with canes, with really severe disabilities, and it's amazing to see the quality of life.
Absolutely,
for them.
absolutely, and it's not just like you said, Sierra. It's not just for the pain factor of it. There is, I do have, in the process of getting my medical marijuana card.
Congratulations!
Thank you very much. I grew up with this was looked bad upon. I think a lot of it is just because it wasn't the education out there that there is now, and this is a new time, and there's been a lot of studies and a lot of trials and things with this sector, and I'm happy for it. But I wouldn't come here for the pain. My thing is, I have a lot of anxiety issues.
Right.
And I'm not a huge fan of taking medicine. I've never been that way. So I'm always looking for something to help in the evenings, help when that anxiety level is to a point where it's hard for me to manage. Right. So on the anxiety side, what sort of strain would you suggest for something like that?
So for more of an anxiety, you are going to look more towards that limonene or that linalool that I was telling you about earlier. They can both be very uplifting for you, so you'll help feel better and just better. Mm-hmm. But since you're using it more in the evenings, you're going to want to use something that also has a really sedating quality. Mm-hmm. So you just really want to look for something that probably has like a high linalool to it. But every patient is so different that you might get a strain that has that high percentage of it, and then you might realize, oh no, this unfortunately triggers my anxiety. Mm-hmm. And we have had patients who it's a trial and error.
Yep.
So it is one of those things you'd have to come in, and it does depend on our availability too. So we sell into and out of stock all the time. Mm-hmm. So our website actually always has a full menu available, so you can always go on there, and we try to update it with the most accurate information.
With what your inventory is at the time.
Right,
okay.
Right. So as soon as we get it into our inventory, it automatically goes right on that website.
Very
so
good.
You'll automatically see
Awesome.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we try to put information on the strains on there. So if you're looking for a specific type of product, a specific type of medicine, you can see when it arrives.
Okay. I know the process of going through to get a medical marijuana card. How does somebody do it? Let's talk about that process. Because when I came in, you have to show ID, proof of ID. The doors are all locked, so this is a very highly regulated industry.
Right.
For sure. And there's probably more about it that I don't even know or couldn't even comprehend. But so it's strict. It's guided. How does somebody go about getting their card?
Right. So for an average person, it's not too bad. You can Google it. But what we have in store is actually some flyers and information we hand out. So dispensaries are not allowed to be a part of the patient card process.
Okay.
That just has to do with the fact that since we're selling the product, they want to make sure that we're also not giving out the cards for the product. It just keeps everything above the table. But a medical doctor or a DO, MD or DO, has to provide you a certification. You'll submit that certification to the state. So you can do that actually at your regular doctor if they're medical marijuana friendly. Mm-hmm. So if you've already got a physical coming up, you've already got something going on, you can just call them and say, hi, I would like to add this on. And if they're okay with it, that'll work. You can submit it to the state. And then that website is actually a portal. I would recommend going to the Department of Health and Senior Services website in Missouri. They have all of that on there. It's kind of a whole website to go through, but you can submit everything yourself, and it costs I think $35 or $25 from the state. And you can go that route, or you can go online. There's virtual doctors that will do a consultation with you over the phone. We partner with Elevate, which will do it over the phone, or NugMD, which will do it over the phone.
Okay. Elevate or NugMD.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we also have the in-person patient drives that happen in the community. So we don't have another one I'm aware of that's scheduled yet, but I'm hoping to see that there's one in August. Tony Corpy over at Natural Wellness is a great resource for that, so feel free to reach out and contact him. But we do see patients over there a lot of times. I mean, we occasionally will show up. I can't promise that we'll be there, but we do occasionally show up to show support for those patient drives.
So Tony Corpy, he has Natural Wellness down there on 16th Street, and he specializes more on the CBD side. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, he does. It's a CBD store, and you don't have to have a patient card to go in there. So if somebody is curious about medical marijuana and they just want to see what some of the products look like or want to try a CBD-based product, they can go over to see Tony without going through any kind of process.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he can help them out.
Absolutely.
But those in-person patient drives, you just go in and you can even have them submit your documentation to the state for you. So you just pay the flat fee, whatever it is, and see the doctor, and they'll submit everything to the state.
And they take care of everything. Absolutely.
And then it's about the state has 30 days to get you back your patient card, but it tends to take up to 2 weeks.
Yeah. And when I was there, they were talking about that people are getting these cards in droves. It's there's sometimes where it was, their system's almost overwhelmed because there's so many people really want to introduce themselves to the cannabis and the benefits of cannabis.
Absolutely.
So don't think, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what your preference is, and I'm not trying to stray you in either direction. But you're not alone in this. It's something that it's a valuable commodity, and we're lucky to be part of this in this era where it's coming to life, and I'm excited about that. So, how many people, when you first started to now, are you seeing your clientele increase?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But the whole state is. Of course. The state's over 100,000 at this point, so we have got a lot of patients already. But I think what's so amazing about it is not only do we see all the patients increasing and everything like that, but patients are allowed to get a cultivation license.
Yep.
So you can grow your own plants at home and you don't ever have to pay for your medication, which is something not all the states that are even recreational offer. And that is a really amazing opportunity to the Missouri residents that you don't necessarily have to pay for your medication.
No, you can be your own cult. There's some certain rules and such about how many plants you can have and what sort of season they're in when it comes to are they blooming or are you just potted or growing or whatever that case is. But that's I don't want to take anything away from the dispensary side, but it's a cost-effective way to, like you said, to grow your medicine.
Exactly. And what I think is amazing is, so we're seeing the patients grow, but then also there's so many people that are growing at home as well. So we know that overall there might be a stigma out there of a certain type of individual, but realistically there's a little bit of everybody who takes comfort in this medication.
Absolutely. So on the cultivating side, now we're in Missouri. Now, your products that you sell, do they have to be Missouri grown?
They do. So everything in Missouri, even Organic Remedies, is 51%, or it's over Missouri owned. So it's a Missouri company. All of our products are grown in Missouri. All of our manufacturers are based in Missouri. So everything is local in that regard. And one of our manufacturers actually is based out of Buffalo, Missouri.
Right on, okay.
Yeah, and it's a family, and it's the family that runs it, and the daughter actually does all the marketing, and it's amazing because they get local honey and they infuse it with marijuana. So we have some amazing local Missouri honey from a local family that is a manufacturer that we can provide as well. So that's really neat.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So right now it's really supply and demand. So that we passed this 2 years ago. There was a growing season. It took a season to grow. And now it's to the market. But supply and demand. Now that our demand's going up, we're going to need a supply chain to increase, to help offset the price a little bit. Where are we at with that? Do you think that there's more growers now that can help out with the supply of it?
So they are coming online every day. And actually, Organic Remedies is proud to offer our own grow in Chaffee, Missouri.
Okay.
We also have another location out in Cape Girardeau. But our grow, hopefully, will be giving us product by the end of the year. And it's amazing to get to see, as we grow, all of these additional licenses being able to finally come online that have been held up due to paperwork and COVID and all kinds of different things that have happened to us in the last year.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, they're definitely increasing. And as far as supply and demand goes, though, we are still experiencing delays in some of our products. So there are some products where they're just already sold out before it's even finished growing. Yeah. Which is incredible. So I think we will have to grow a little more.
Yeah, and I think it will. It was new, and it takes everybody a little bit of time to get their affairs in order and start the cultivation and the growing process of it. And more people, and we're in the right temperature or the right ecosystem where it will grow pretty well here.
Absolutely. And I think the Missouri patients, too, were eager for this specifically. They've seen Illinois, they've seen Oklahoma, they've seen surrounding states, and I think they were ready for it.
Right, absolutely. Now, our neighbors to the west in Colorado, they were kind of, Colorado, and I think Oregon was the other one that was the first states to really get going on this. Now, Colorado is recreation is legal. It's just you don't have to have a card. You just have to be of age and follow some orders. But do you foresee that Missouri in time is going to be to a point where we can have recreational marijuana?
I think that is something that we will have to see, but
Yeah.
maybe, honestly. So I don't know that it got a lot of attention, but there was a push to at least propose a bill for a recreational legalization. It got struck down in court because some of the signatures were deemed invalid, and then by the time they validated, then they were 23 signatures short.
Ah, wow. Okay.
So it was really close,
Yeah.
though, and because it was so close, and we passed our medical bill by 66%,
Mm-hmm.
I think it is a possibility for sure, something we should at least look at, and if somebody wanted to support or have an opinion on, they should definitely do that now.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's a good time.
Absolutely. Sierra, it was good chit-chatting with you again. I'm glad you're doing so well. I really am. When you and I spoke about you taking this venture on, I knew you were excited about it because this is something that you're passionate about. So there's going to be people out there that are going to have questions about the information that we provided, and you're here to educate people. So if somebody has some questions, how can they get a hold of you?
So you can always reach out to us on our website. It's organicremediesmo.com. Or you can call us at the store. Our phone number is 660-722-0420. And we'd be happy to answer any questions or refer you guys to any place that we have to if we can't answer your question. So if it's a patient card, we'll be happy to give you guys more information on who to talk to for that.
Well, thank you very much. And again, we're at Organic Remedies. We're right here in the same plaza as Buffalo Wild Wings, right next to Sports Clips, I think is what it is, and right in front of Menard. So a great location. Come on down and see Sierra and the crew down here, and they'd be happy to help you out. So, Sierra, good luck to you, and it's good seeing you, my friend.
Thank you. It's nice to see you, Will.
This is Will with the Get Fit Podcast, and I am challenging you to get fit.